We are here with Christian Winkgen in Germany, and how are you doing today, Christian?
I'm fine. Thanks.
It is so nice to have you with us, and Christian is going to tell us the story of the Velomobile called the A9 and where it's been and where it's going. So, Christian, can you tell us a little bit, first of all, about your background with recumbent bikes and velomobiles?
Yeah, my my background is not that long. I've only riding recumbents for a few years now. It started with moving bottom bracket, a Python. I don't know if you know it. The steering is the center steered thing. That's when it started. I rode it for a year. Met some people in my area who rode Velomobiles. They looked quite nice and fast, and then I got one, and it's only 3 or 4 years ago. So
Okay.
I'm not that much of I've got not that much of a history in velomobiles. My first one was the DF XL, and now I ride the A9.
So once you saw the Velomobile, you literally jumped in with both feet, didn't you? That's great to hear. So,
No.
all right.
Oh, yes.
Did you get that one? Jumped in with both feet. Yeah. Okay. Let's, Christian, you have put together on your own time. Thank you very much for doing this. A nice little slideshow telling us about the A9. So why don't we go there right now, and you can start telling us about this amazing Velomobile.
Okay. Yeah, try to because I've been there from the first hour when it was designed, and I've got some contact with Daniel Fenn, who was the designer and all started it. Because I came from the DF, that was obvious that the DF XL was even a bit tight for me, and he said he wanted to build something bigger, something for guys like me. And I said, well, that's very interesting. I'd like to have the first, not the very first one. The first one was this prototype. Someone else in my area got it. It's a bit lighter, but it's the very first one Daniel wrote himself. But I've got the first that came from Romania, and that's also a yellow one, like in the picture. So I can tell something about how the A9 developed, how it moved into the M9, and how it's changed into the A9.2. That's the second version of the A9. So let's just start with the A9. Why it was built and why Daniel did it. You want to have something that fits taller riders. Like there were people of 2 meters, don't know what it is in feet and inches, 6 feet or something. Like people who hit their heads on the doors when they go through, like me. They all had issues. It was too tight. The feet would hit somewhere, or the knees, or they had to use short cranks and stuff like that. So we want to have something like a go-to thing. You knew you could put anyone within a certain range. Like you can't put people of very much more than 2 meters in, but just 99% of the people who are tall. Like me. So what he did, he just thought, well, I did a few velomobiles with open wheel wells. Now I do one with closed wheel wells. Actually, he asked people what they wanted, and he did a poll on the Velomobile forum, so people could vote what they wanted, and there was more people wanted closed wheel wells because it was faster, cleaner, and stuff like that. It should be tall. It should be improved in any way, and it should be also something you could use every day, not just for riding, but for racing, but for going to work or just having fun, or even racing. So his approach was, before he just used the old model or something he already made, changed it, cut it, glued something in, or changed the shape, and reworked it into something different. And this time, he just took the digital approach. He just found a guy who worked with him for hours and nights, and they designed everything digitally in the computer. You see some pictures how it looked, and he didn't even make a model of it to fit someone in. He just went straight to the milling machine. You see on the right side, on the upper right side, and then he built a mold from it and built his first prototype. You see on the lower left side, and that's the thing he also raced a few times last year. In the Netherlands, there were a few races, and he just made sure that it works, that it was fast enough for his feeling. But as you see, Macy, he doesn't really fit in that good. He made something so his seat is a bit more forward, because it's too big, and that's the first one. And then the master was shipped to Romania, and Jan started to build the mold for production himself. And the first builds of the A9 were built and shipped, and I got the first one and was lucky to be the first one to have the experience of riding it. And just when the thing went to Romania, he started building the next version. That's the M9. I just explain what the difference is, but it's just built the same way the Velomobiles were built before, just by changing things on a existing shape. But he had a very nice model to start with, because it was all symmetrical, it was all tidy and everything, and that's why it was quite easy for him. He can do these things in only a few days or hours. He just made a few cuts, like you see on the upper part. That's the Alpha 9. The red parts were cut out, then put together, tidied up. And that's basically what happened to get from the Alpha 9 to the M9. So the front part, don't know how you call it properly, the bonnet part, the front part is far lower. There's a wedge-shaped part. It's even lower on the front, and to the back it just gets down to 0. So the back is nearly as high as the Alpha 9. The whole manhole is moved a bit to the front, because the people are shorter and the center of gravity should be more forward above the front wheels for stability. So that's 2 centimeters shifted to the front, and there's a 2 centimeter strip on the lower part got lowered. So the A9 looks like a whale, and the M9 looks like a nice thing. But it's the one for the average rider. Anyone like Daniel himself could fit in, who's not taller than 180 or something. So this is the one that actually was the most ordered thing last year, because everyone liked it, and only like when they are from 10 Velomobiles of this type, 9 were M9s and 1 was an A9, because only 10% or something of the people were the taller ones who needed a A9. I was the first one of the taller ones to try out the Alpha 9. I had some issues with the A9, and some others had as well, and that was the reason for Daniel to redesign or redo some things of the A9, because it was a bit too short for some riders. The cranks hit the front, and the seat had to be moved all the way back, and there was too much room above the knees, even for longer cranks. So what he did is do a slight modification of the M9, and the reason is that he used the M9 because it was easier for him, because it was already nice, and some aspects he wanted to keep with the Alpha 9, the second version of the Alpha 9. So on this picture you see what he changed on the M9 to extend it, or to shape it into the second version of the Alpha 9. Conclusion: the Alpha 9 is even larger and improved from the A9 and M9. The front is lower. The front lamp is a bit higher. It's going to start. The production is going to start in February. That's when the first version should hit the dealers. And it replaces the Alpha 9.1 because it doesn't make sense to have both, because this one is the one that should fit for everyone like me. So you see all the details here. Maybe we can pick out one or two, but just when I take a step back and think about the main difference between other types. Like, I'm coming from the DF-XL, that was really tight, and I couldn't move much in that one. And now I've ridden nearly a whole year in the Alpha 9, and it's really comfy. You can turn, you can look around, you can get something that's behind you. I was even able to change my trousers without getting out once when it was cold, and I was on a long trip, and I had a bit of sleep, and I put long trousers on, and then I wanted to continue and had to take them off because of the sweat. And I didn't even have to get out. It may not be possible in the Alpha 9.2 because the knee room is tighter, but I could change in that thing. I could move enough to even open or change my shoes, and that's something that was new for me. There may have been older models like Quest or something that may have felt something like it, but it's just comfy and safe, and you are you're low, you feel like you are contained, you feel safe because that thing around you, that's rounded edges now, and you can cut corners and stuff. It's like it's a whole new riding experience from my point of view, coming from the DF XL.
You do have a very recent update now on the 9.2 that you just talked about from Romania. What do you know that's happening right now?
Okay, I got a message from Jan today. Okay, we are recording this 1.5 weeks before you are seeing this, so that's that may be outdated now. But today, the first Alpha 9 second version got out of the mold, and Jan sent me the first pictures of it. We can just
let's
show
have
it.
A
maybe
look. We'd love to see that.
Maybe. It's still not painted yet. It's just out of the mold, just the bare carbon. So some people may like it, but you won't get it this way because you rather get it painted, and it looks much nicer painted. And you also sweat in that black thing when the sun is hitting it. I can tell from someone who had a thing like that. But these are the first pictures of the Alpha 9, the second version. You see it's a bit longer. Oh, one thing I didn't mention, there's even a crash zone in it. I don't know if it's in my specs. I forgot it. The part in front of your face, right in front of the manhole, that's built of glass fiber, because there are two reasons. Because one, the GPS signal gets through easier, so you have better reception of GPS. And the second thing, it's more, it's nicer to hit it if you happen to have a crash and you hit it. Carbon isn't the best thing to hit, so the glass stuff is nicer, and it behaves better when there's in case of a crash. So that's also a feature. I think that's unique currently for these things. There's no other model who has it.
Just to finish up, now you had the opportunity to take your Alpha 9 on a wonderful trip last summer, I believe. So you have some slides. Let's take a look at those and tell us about that.
Yeah, my very first and even longest trip by Velomobile. It was organized by Josef Janning, the one who's also in the show. He does it every couple of years, and but it was a bit delayed by the pandemic. Yeah, and I was lucky to be part of it. It was all planned, and it was 3 lovely weeks through Italy. We started in Germany, going across the Alps, doing a round trip to the Adriatic Sea, then across Italy to the other side, to the Mediterranean Sea. There were many hills to climb, a lot of sun, a lot of sweat. Every night we had a campground where we stayed. We had our whole camping gear with us. Some of us had it in their Velomobiles, and but most had it in a van that followed us in case of emergency and if things break. And yeah, this was the first big trip with this thing I did, and it performed very nicely.
I'm so glad that you enjoyed that and shared those with us. I wonder if are you going to sell the Alpha 9 and get a 9.2?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's thing I was thinking about. I'm someone who likes to modify things and who changes things and fiddle around, not because they are bad, but because I have some ideas and some time to try out things. And I changed so much on the Alpha 9 that it would be a pity to sell it right now, because everyone is like I want it. And maybe I'm going to sell it somewhere in the next years, but right now I'm just waiting. I will try out the Alpha 9, the second version, and see how it feels. And if it feels much better, maybe that could be a reason to actually sell it. But it's hard to sell something you've ridden that far in, and just because there's a new version. I don't know, not yet, but maybe sometime later.
Very good. All right. Yeah, I knew that would be a difficult question for you, Christian. But I sure appreciate you spending the time to put together this wonderful story of a Velomobile that you clearly love and fits you so beautifully. So, Christian, thank you so much for coming on the Laid Back Bike Report and telling us about the A9 and the A9.2.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you too.